welcome back, my fairies. I am Matsuyorific, and happy Halloween! So, to celebrate the fact that today is Halloween and we're getting a new episode, I decided to wear my whole cat noir costume that I made for my avatar, and I thought that would be kind of fun today, which I usually wear when we stream Rise of the Sphinx. I'm sick right now, so I apologize if I sound a little off. We were going to stream Rise of the Sphinx later today, but because I'm sick, we're going to be playing Legends Arceus, but we'll be playing that on Wednesday. We'll have new episodes tomorrow and Wednesday as well, so look forward to those reviews. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about this episode, which I haven't seen yet, because I always talk about the episode, what we know about it first, before actually diving into the episode itself. So this episode is, of course, episode 7. So this episode is, of course, episode 7, and it's Passion. And this is the long-awaited Kwami swap episode. And it's also the episode where Natalie lets Gabriel have it. It's also the Natalie-Adrian hug episode, which is going to be really cute. But this may also very well be the Natalie leaves the show episode. If she does actually leave, I hope she doesn't leave the show itself. Rather, I hope she just leaves the Agrest house. Because, you know, things have been really awkward with her and Gabriel ever since the whole thing with Evolution, where he had the opportunity, a very long-standing opportunity, to leave that thumb drive in the past for his past self to fix the Peacock Miraculous before Emilie got sick and before any of this happened. But no, he decided to pursue Ladybug, even though you have the power of time travel. It doesn't matter if she currently is exposing you in the past. You could do what she and Bunnix did and go back to the point just before she exposes you and stop her. After you leave the thumb drive in the past, time is irrelevant. You can travel through it. But nope, he decided to ignore the laws of time travel that we already learned through Bunnix and go after Ladybug instead and leave Emilie and subsequently Natalie to rot. So that, of course, has upset Natalie, and she, for some reason, is still working with Gabriel, even though she's told him that he doesn't deserve her help. He doesn't deserve anyone's help. I guess it's more of a work professional thing. Typically, you know, when you're a work professional, you give some time notice before actually quitting. Plus, you know, there is that whole mother-son relationship that she has with Adrian, even though she's not his mother or his stepmother, even. She is still a mother figure for him, now that his real mother is gone. So, you know, I'm imagining that she's sticking around for Adrian. She had that cute little mama bear moment in episode 2 where she checks in with him and sees him sleeping. It's like, aww. But, yeah, aside from that, we're also getting the Miraculous Swap episode. So we're gonna get the return of Lady Noir and Mr. Bug. And we're also going to see Natalie akumatized. I'm assuming this is gonna be like her last time helping Gabriel. Because we do see in the trailer that she actually goes down to the basement and she talks to him. So this may very well be her plan. We'll have to see. And yeah, that's about all we know, aside from the fact that, okay, yeah, we do also know that she's going to get a crossbow. And my theory is that she's going to be shooting the miraculous powers out with her crossbow. Because we saw that that one clip of Cat Noir cataclysming the power. But yeah, she cataclysms the he cataclysms the venom power, which it looks like Ladybug has already been hit by, and he manages to save her. I don't know. We don't know how she manages to get unparalyzed. Maybe it's a detransformation thing or something. But he manages to get her unparalyzed, and for some reason they decide to swap Miraculous, likely because, she knows all of their moves and everything, and she's got that analytical mind. Great minds think alike. So they're probably going to be swapping Miraculous just so that they can confuse her and figure out how to defeat her. So that'll be interesting to see exactly why they swap Miraculous. And I have to say, I'm still sour that we aren't getting a full Lady Noir and Mr. Bug transformation sequence. But at the same time, I've noticed something this morning. We have yet to get a full-on transformation sequence for either of them. The only transformation sequences we've seen all season are for Monarch, whatever Alex's name was with the dog Miraculous, and for present-day Bunnix. Again, Alex. Gabriel and Alex are the only ones who've gotten transformation sequences this episode. Ladybug and Cat Noir just get their power sequences, and that's it. So, yeah, I just noticed that. So we'll see if we get any more transformation sequences this episode. Yeah, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and watch the episode, and I will be right back. Oh my goodness, you guys. I don't even know where to start with this episode. This was a really good episode, but for many different reasons. And I'm just going to call it right now. This is probably going to be TBC's favorite episode because, oh my gosh, was this a good showing for Adrien. So I guess we'll just, get into this like always. So the episode starts off with Marinette and Alia having another sleepover, and Marinette is telling Alia that she has fallen in love with Cat Noir, and how things will be a lot simpler this time because she can talk to Cat Noir, and oh, he's in love with Ladybug, meaning that he's in love with me. So it'll actually work out. And Alia's like, yeah, but he doesn't know that you're the same person, though. And is this real? And Alia suspects that this might be, that Marinette might actually be projecting onto Cat Noir, that she might only be falling in love with him because she's trying to ignore her feelings for Adrien, which I would say is a possibility, if not for the fact that we've seen her falling in love with him all season long. Plus, he is Adrien. So, yeah, if she truly loves Adrien, then she would love Cat Noir too. But this means that she now loves all of him. She loves his goofy side, she loves his Adrien side, and that's what we've been wanting to see with the reversed love square. So she's like, oh no, yeah, things will be better. And then after that, we get the really interesting stuff. Oh yeah, I guess I should also mention that she does also try to leave for school in her pajamas again, but that's, that's classic Marinette. And then we get Adrien waking up, and oh my gosh, he's so... oh my gosh. Like, it's the cute kind of cringe that we've seen Marinette do a lot, but, without the stuff that made Adrianette weird before. It's just Adrien being head over heels, goo goo gaga over Marinette. He draws her picture in the fog on his mirror in the bathroom, and then, but that's not even the main focus of this scene here, because the real focus is he gets to have his breakfast with Gabriel. He finally gets to have his breakfast with Gabriel, and Gabriel is suspiciously cheerful this at the beginning of this episode. Like, oh my gosh, he is smiling. He is like, he has this really gentle and happy look on his face. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? Who are you, and what did you do with Gabriel Agreste? So yeah, and he's even making breakfast. He asks Adrien if he wants bananas on his pancakes. According to Natalie later, Adrien prefers his pancakes plain, but Gabriel didn't know that. But that's why he's asking. He asked Adrien if he wanted them, and Adrien's just so distracted thinking about Marinette, he's like, yeah, sure, I'll take bananas. But also I will say this too, like, I also think he's thinking about the fact that, he doesn't get to spend much time with his father, and his father's actually being considerate of his feelings right now, so, yeah, I'd probably do this too. Like, if I was in his situation and my father that I rarely get to see is, you know, being all cheerful, making me food and everything, I'd also be like, yeah, I'd love it, you know. Yeah, thanks for being so considerate. That's very kind of you, is what he says. So Gabriel actually makes him breakfast and everything. It's like, that was just too cute. Like, why am I putting Gabriel and cute in the same sentence? And Natalie comes in to wake up Adrian because his alarm's going off at 7 a.m. And then she realizes that he's not in his room. And she has this oh no moment when she realizes he must be downstairs with his father, which is interesting because we do hear her say later in the episode that she will protect Adrian from Gabriel. I think that's actually at the end of the scene. But she goes in, she sees Adrian looking like he's kind of sad with the banana on the fork in his hand, and we know that he's just thinking about stuff with Marinette, but she comes in and sees that look on his face and thinks that Adrian is forcing himself to eat this food that he doesn't like to please his father. And she just walks in and is like, Gabriel, if you spend more time with your son, you would have known he prefers his pancakes plain. Like, just straight up attacking the poor guy. It's like, he's trying to do something sweet for his son. Like, let him do this. This is for Adrian. And then Gabriel's like, Adrian, if you didn't want bananas, you could have just told me. And it's like, seriously, who are you? What did you do with Gabriel? I mean, I guess we kind of had this moment as well in episode 2 when Adrian's like, Father, I don't want to be a model anymore. He's like, okay, if that's what you want. So, and then Adrian tries to come to his father's defense, and he's like, oh no, yeah, it's fine, I was just lost in thought. And Natalie's like, you don't have to do this just to please your father. He's like, but I'm not. It's like, oh my gosh, Mom, Dad, please stop fighting. And then Gabriel's even tried to be like, Natalie, leave Adrian alone, let him eat his pancakes, and just tell me how you want them. And Natalie gets all suspicious, because apparently he used to do this for Emilie. And it's like, why are you acting like I'm Emilie? Why are you doing this like we're a family? But she doesn't say that out loud, at least not yet. And then Adrian notices how they're acting, and then he notices Emilie's ring on Natalie. And it's like, why is she still wearing Natalie's ring? You'd think Gabriel would have taken it back after everything was settled to give back to Emilie. But now Natalie's wearing it, and well, even though Gabriel has his own ring back. And Adrian just thinks that Gabriel gave her the ring, like they're together now, which is so cute. He's like, he thinks his family's finally starting to become whole again. It's like, oh. He's like, yeah, let's eat together like we're a family. And then, which touches Natalie because Adrian sees her like family. But then she's just like, I will never eat your pancakes, sir. He's like, we're family. You can call me Gabriel. How about Gabe instead? It's like, gosh. The scripting in this episode is just amazing. And already, Adrian's had more screen time than Marinette, I think. So, yeah, he goes, and then they realize, oh, it's time for Adrian to go to school. And then, you know, they act like they're a family while Adrian's leaving the room. And Gabriel puts his hand on Natalie's shoulder, and she even puts his hand on her hand on his hand. And as soon as Adrian's out of the room, BAM! Oh my goodness. And she's just like, yeah, no, we're not family. We're not family. It's over. You're only doing this out of madness, and the only reason why I'm here is to protect Adrian from you. So that explains why she's still here. She's here to protect Adrian. And, you know, he's like, oh, but I'm doing this for Adrian's happiness. She's like, no, the only thing Adrian needs to be happy is his father. He just needs you. And it's like, yes, that's what he needs to hear. He needs to know that Adrian doesn't need his mother back. He needs his father in his life. And Natalie sees that. And also, when she's got him pinned too, she's actually got him pinned by the arm that's been cataclysmed too. So that's got to be extra painful for him there. And then she mentions that Emilie had accepted what was happening to her, and had left behind recordings, hoping that Gabriel would be able to accept and stop chasing the miraculous. And then Gabriel mentions that, you know, he told Natalie to destroy those recordings because they were too painful for him. He just couldn't bear it. And then we find out later that she actually still has them, but we'll get to that. So he actually shows her the cataclysm damage, and looks like it's gotten worse, because before we got to see the mark was shaped like a handprint, but now he lifts his sleeve up and it's no longer a handprint. It's completely starting to take over his arm. Like, it is from, let me actually take a look at my webcam. It's like, see if I can get my character. Okay, there we go. It is from the, oh, come on. Yeah, it is from going from the wrist all the way down to here. And it's like, that is a huge amount of damage that's on his arm, which means it's spreading. And they kind of insinuate that he might actually die from this. So, oh, oops, let me try to get the, yeah, he might actually die from this. So, so that might actually be, yeah, he might actually die from this. That's gonna be, yeah, which would leave Adrian completely alone, because then he won't have Gabriel, he won't have Natalie. Like, oh my gosh. When this finally gets revealed to him, oh, it's gonna be so sad. Oh my goodness. Okay, but yeah, so she realizes that he's been cataclysmed and that he doesn't have much time left either. And he's like, yeah, I won't be able to save myself, I won't be able to save you or Emilie, and then no one will be there for Adrian. So it's like, okay, yeah, we gotta do this for Adrian now so that he doesn't end up completely alone. It's like, yeah, he's a 14-year-old kid with, actually apparently 15 according to Rise of the Sphinx. He's a 15-year-old kid who knows very little about the outside world, and because he's been locked up most of his life. And it's like, if he doesn't have anyone to take care of him, what's gonna happen to him? So we go back to Adrian's room, and Adrian's still thinking about the fact that he saw the ring on Natalie's hand, and it's like, maybe I should get Marinette a ring. It's like, Adrian, sweetie, you're not at that point yet where it's appropriate to give her a ring. And Plag is even like, what, are you gonna propose to her? He's like, yeah, that may be a little fast. It's like, yes, that's kind of what rings do. I mean, you can also give a ring to your boyfriend or girlfriend too, even though you're not proposing to them yet. It's kind of like a promise ring, but they're still a bit young for promise rings too. So, and yeah, and Black's like, what, you gonna propose to her? He's like, no, it's a little early for that. But he's like, well, maybe I could try to talk to her during recess. Oh, I could write her a poem. It's like, he doesn't even realize that he already wrote her a poem, and that she responded to it. And Plag is, you know, still poo-pooing his ideas, and he's like, well, maybe I'll get a second opinion. So he goes to Natalie's room to ask her for her opinion on what he should do about this girl that he likes. And then we see Natalie in her room, and we see her pull out what I'm assuming to be Emilie's phone, and she looks at some of the videos and stuff that are on Emilie's phone, which looks like she's been having a video diary. And the past few videos look like they're pretty solemn videos. And she plays one of them where it's a message to Natalie saying that, you know, Natalie, I'm counting on you. You need to stop Gabriel. I know it won't be easy to convince him to stop chasing the miraculous, but you know, he needs to accept it. You have to accept it and move on for Adrian. He's going to need you both, and I know you'll love him like a mother. And it's like, oh, Emilie trusted Natalie to take care of Adrian for her. It's like, oh. And then we see Natalie getting all determined. It's like, and and she's basically come to the conclusion that if Gabriel does get the miraculous and gets his wish, then he's not going to make the wish properly because of the fact that he's gone mad. So she's going to try to get the miraculous back herself so that she can make the wish properly, and recreate the world properly. But it's like, you really shouldn't do that regardless, because they hint later that maybe they'll lose Adrian, and it's like, I know that I did this in Tales of Love and War, and that I predicted a lot of stuff in Season 4 with that fanfiction, but please do not let me have predicted the part where Adrian is about to be sacrificed because of the wish. Please let me be wrong about that. Please, 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 please. I can't. I don't want anything happening to my son. Please don't do this to him. Oh, okay, moving on. But yeah, then Adrian goes in and he's about to talk to Natalie, but then Natalie starts coughing, and he realizes that she's getting sick again, and he starts to worry about her. She assures him that she's fine, and everything. But we do get this little flashback sequence, because before she gets sick again, he asks her about her experiences with love, and we see her watching Emilie and Gabriel together, like she's getting all jealous and everything. It's like falling in love is complicated. It's like, yeah, this is true. But then she gets sick, and Adrian starts worrying about her, and she's like, oh, no, I'm fine, it'll be okay. Which is, I guess it's more her determination to get the miraculous herself so that she can make this wish so that life is better for Adrian. And I think that's really sweet that he's her motivation now. It's no longer Gabriel's her motivation, no, Emilie's her motivation. Adrian is her motivation. And that's where she gets the idea of allowing herself to be akumatized once more. So she goes down to Gabriel and is like, okay, I made you this promise that I would get the miraculous back for your family, and I'm going to keep that promise. I've got a plan. We're going to do this. And Gabriel's actually against the whole thing. He's like, no, you've already done too much. He's like, no, we're doing this now. We are getting the miraculous back. And she tells him her plan. But then we get a quick cut to Adrian at school, and he bumps into Marinette, and it's mostly focused on Adrian, and I love it. But Marinette, he literally bumps into Marinette because he's too distracted thinking about her that he doesn't see her. And it's like, this is exactly how Season 1 was. She'd be all distracted thinking about Adrian, and then she actually bumps into him and then freaks out. So, she stumbles on her words and everything, but she notices that he looks sad about something. Well, I guess, okay, he wasn't really thinking about Marinette then. He was thinking about Natalie, now that I think about it. But yeah, he's sad because he's thinking about Natalie and how she's sick, just like his mother was sick. And he's worried about her, and Marinette is able to comfort him, and he actually does start to feel better. And he realizes again that, gosh, Marinette, she's such a great person, and even now when I'm feeling all helpless and sad, she's still able to find the right words to make me feel better, which is really sweet and everything. And then she freaks out when he's about to confess to her, and she's like, oh, no, I gotta go. And then Flag, and I'm like, okay, Season 1 would have focused on Marinette here, but this actually focuses on Adrian. And then Flag is like, oh wow, that was almost some confession. But, just sort of teasing him about the fact that he wasn't able to successfully confess to Marinette. And then we get that scene from before of Plag freaking out about the fact that, oh, his holder's fallen in love with Tiki's holder. So, he goes to talk to Tiki about it, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is awful, because if they get together, then they're gonna be all lovey-dovey and everything, and reveal their identities to each other in just a couple of minutes. And Tiki's like, that's not going to happen. And it's like, yeah, and she also tells him that that Marinette is now in love with Cat Noir, and it's like, okay, yeah, well, that's just as bad. That's just as bad. She manages to calm him down, but yeah, I'm guessing that this is supposed to be like a prequel to the Kwame's Choice episode. So yeah, that'll be interesting. When we get to those episodes, hopefully we get those next month, which is technically starting tomorrow. But yeah, I'm hoping that we get an announcement soon about when we'll get the rest of season 5A, because we just have 2 more episodes left of the first half. But then we get Natalie looking at the outfit that she used to wear when she would go adventuring with Gabriel and Natalie. And I'm guessing that it's from when they were looking for the Miraculous and also for the Prodigious too, because we do have confirmation that they were looking for the Prodigious before Adrian was even born. And Gabriel does look younger in their flashbacks too, so that's another hint that this took place a long, long time ago. Which, you know, I was actually looking at the Miraculous subreddit, or not subreddit, the Miraculous wiki, and I was looking at up some information on the game, so that for a video that I'm working on, and they mention how there's a continuity error with the flashback scene between Gabriel and Natalie because they're already looking for the Miraculous a few years before things actually start. But it's like, we know from Shanghai that they've been looking for these jewels for much, much longer, for as long as Adrian's been alive. And I think it makes sense that, you know, that they would actually have been looking for the Miraculous before this moment, because Emilie had already been missing for a while before the show actually started. Long enough that Adrian has been able to get over the fact that he's lost his mother and move on with his life. So we get this weird scene with Natalie talking to Monarch, but the reason that it's weird is because she's talking to him like she's already akumatized, but she hasn't been akumatized yet. Gabriel hasn't released the Akuma yet. And he still uses Voyage to send the Akuma out, which is interesting, even though it's like literally right here, but I guess it's to prevent Ladybug and Cat Noir from seeing the Akuma beforehand. I think that's why they're using Voyage. But she tells him that she's going to become Safari, and that she wants the power to never miss her prey. So he sends her out the Akuma, and the Akuma goes into the mannequin with her outfit on it, and then that appears on her body, so that, you know, that's where the Akuma is. So it's another one of those situations where the Akuma is hidden so that the heroes won't be able to easily get to it. But I actually thought it was in the clothes, which I was freaking out at first about how are they gonna get the Akuma back, because they would have to disrobe her, and this is a show for kids, but it's in the mannequin, so it's fine. So she asks for Ziggy's power so that she can give herself many weapons, and that's where she gets her crossbow, she gets the whip, and she gets these miraculous capsules that give her the ability to basically shoot out the powers of the Miraculous, like I theorized before, and that allows her to use those powers. But then she gets one other object, which is basically a PDA-ish thing, which we saw before, and that allows her to lock on target so that when she shoots out the power, they will chase their targets around. So she uses the power of Mirage to create a mirage or an illusion of Time Tagger, and that's how he appears this episode. And then we see that pretty much everyone in their classroom, aside from Marinette and Adrian, are wearing the alliances. It's like it goes off in the middle of class that there's a Mega Akuma alert, and like I think Milen and Ivan are the only ones besides Marinette and Adrian that aren't wearing the alliance rings. It's like even their teacher, Miss Mandaleev, is wearing it. But yeah, I'm looking at the image right now, and it looks like they don't have them, which I guess makes sense because, you know, they're more about nature and everything, and it's technology. So yeah, I guess that makes sense why those two are the only ones that wouldn't have it. Besides Marinette and Adrian, they don't wear them because of the step tracker, so that could very easily reveal their identities if they weren't careful. So, you know, Marinette, so then Time Tagger, gives them, Time Tagger actually gives them an excuse for, how they leave the school, because he puts it on the window, and it's like, oh yeah, this whole building's gonna wind up in the past. So everyone just sort of, evacuates the school. Miss Mandalea tells them to calmly leave, but it's like everybody just rushes out. And then Marinette and Adrian go to hide so that they can transform. And we once again don't get a transformation sequence for this part. This is one of the rare times that it actually does follow Marinette for a little bit. But I do want to talk about the bathroom scene real quick, because Marinette is like, there's an Kuma, I'll finally get to see Cat Noir again! And then Tiki's looking at her like, really? You're really doing this right now? Really? Like, it's a total Adrian and Plag moment, because this is how Adrian and Cat Noir, or Adrian and Plag were in earlier seasons, because it's like, I'll get to see Ladybug again, and Plag is like, really? You're really doing this right now? Really? So it's a total role reversal, which is fun to see. It really is. So they transform and they go to find Time Tagger, not realizing that he's an illusion, and then Safari uses Time Tagger as a distraction so that she can lock on to both Ladybug and Cat Noir. And she shoots out her venom just like we saw in the trailer, just like we theorized, and she hits Ladybug, and then Cat Noir sees one coming for him as well. Oh, I do want to talk about what happens before Ladybug actually gets hit. Just another, like, I can't help but laugh at this episode. This is a really funny episode because they are going full on with the reverse love square here. Because she actually says, you know, maybe we should just ignore the villain. Let's go watch a movie instead. Really? A movie? What? And he doesn't even catch on to it. He's like, really? He's like, this is really the best time for that. I think he probably thinks that she was making fun of him or something. And it's like, but as she's kicking herself for asking him to the movies here and now, she gets hit by the venom, and then Cat Noir's like, wait, what? What happened? And then he sees it coming after him, and he cataclysms it, but then there's another one coming! So he grabs Ladybug and starts running, and I love that he's like, this is harassment! It's like the total flashback to Oblivio, where Plag sees Adrian everywhere, and he's like, this is psychological harassment! It's like, yeah, it's, well, like Kwame like Holder, I guess. And then he jokes around and stuff, you know, acts like the beam is like in love with him or something. And then they actually end up at the theater, and the thing is blocked by a Cat Noir statue from the movie theater ad. He's like, oh, glad to have a stunt double. It's like, oh, I love him so much. But then he sees Safari and realizes that it's Natalie, and she unleashes a whole bunch of venoms. So he goes into the sewers to try and shake them, and realizes that, you know, this is bad. You know, he doesn't have Ladybug here to tell him what to do or to come up with plans. And so he ends up apologizing to her for the fact that he won't be able to do anything to stop this. And he de-transforms just before they actually manage to hit him. But because he's no longer Cat Noir, they no longer can lock onto him because he's not Cat Noir anymore. He's now Adrian. But since Ladybug is paralyzed, she can't actually see that it's him. She also has her hands in front of her face, so I guess that also counts for something too. But he comes up with the idea of, well, if they're tracked onto Cat Noir, they don't track me as Adrian, then what if I wasn't Cat Noir? What if I was Mr. Bug? So he comes up with the idea of doing a miraculous swap. He stands Ladybug up in that little divide there in the sewers, so that he can't see her, and then has Plagg remove her earring so that she's no longer paralyzed, which it actually winds up working this time. She stopped, her paralysis wears off, and he tells her what's going on. So I guess because she was paralyzed, she didn't see anything that was going on, because he had to actually explain to her everything that was going on. And then she actually comes to the conclusion, oh, well, what if I wasn't Ladybug? What if I was Lady Noir? And it's like, yes, they're on the same page. He thought of it first, but they're on the same page. So he's like, and if I was Mr. Bug? So they agree to swap Miraculous, but then Adrian remembers the fact that Natalie was sick just like his mother, and he stares at both his ring and her earrings in his hand and wonders, what if we made a wish ourselves? We could cure all the sickness and get rid of the evil in the world. And then she reminds him that that's not how it works. For every evil that you destroy, more evil will take its place. For every sickness you cure, more people will become ill. And it's like, yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing it back to the law of equivalent exchange. And Adrian realizes, okay, yeah, that's not a good idea. As much as I want to save Natalie and everything, she's right. We can't do this. We've got to stop Natalie. So they transform into Mr. Bug and Lady Noir, and this is so far the closest we've gotten to a transformation sequence for them both, and I still wish we had gotten the full sequences, but yeah, this is technically the most we've gotten out of a transformation sequence for either of them. So they go out, they fight Safari, and she isn't able to lock onto them for some reason. I don't know why she doesn't try to lock onto them. I guess because she doesn't have a clear shot or something. But they go off, and also Lady Noir is like flirting with Mr. Bug, like, this suit looks really good on you, The red and the black spots really complements your eyes. And it's like, girl, you have become Cat Noir. She has literally become Cat Noir. They went full in on reversing the love square, and as much as I love it, I just please don't let her sniff her earrings when she gets them back. Please don't let her sniff Cat Noir's pillow, even though she's technically already done that. But yeah, jokes aside, they go off and they fight Safari, with Lady Noir still making jokes and flirting with him, and he's like, my suit's got a really strange effect on you, m'lady. Basically blaming it on the suit. It's like he's the one who's being all serious about everything, and she's the one who's flirting and making jokes. Which was kind of like what we were supposed to get with Reflectall, so I'm glad to see that here. And then they're still fighting, and that's when they managed to get all of her weapons away from her and destroy them all, but so far no Akumas are appearing. And that's when Mr. Bug has the thought, what if it's not one of her weapons? What if it's that mannequin that was back in Natalie's room that had those clothes that she's wearing? But he can't actually say all that to Lady Noir, because that would give away his identity to her. But then, fortunately, as they're hiding from Safari, one of the Adrian's ads lands right next to them, and he uses his lucky charm and gets a perfume bottle, and he matches it with the sign. He's like, oh, I can use this as an excuse. Oh, hey, we should go to Gabriel Agrest's house. Why there? Look, it's a perfume bottle. See the sign? Yeah, that's a sign that's a clue that we're supposed to go there. I've got an idea. Let's go. And then she questions it, even as they're on their way there. she questions it, and he's like, "Milady, you always come up with convoluted plans, and I trust you, so this time you're going to have to trust me." And she's like, "Okay, fine, I'll trust you." So Lady Noir distracts Safari, while Mr. Bug goes back to Natalie's room so he can destroy the mannequin and capture the Akuma. And of course, Safari and Lady Noir do follow him, but they don't make it there in time to stop him. So they do manage to de-akumatize Natalie, and oh my goodness, Madrian is back. He gets so furious at the fact that this happened. Says that Monarch is such a monster for forcing somebody who's sick like this to do his dirty work. Little does he know that he's saying this in front of Monarch, and it's like, oh my goodness. He is so mad. He is furious. And I love it. I do love it. So yeah, then they split up. Well, but first, she's like, "Oh, but maybe we should do something." And he's like, "Are you forgetting something? We've got to de-transform. We've got to swap our miraculous back." She's like, "Oh yeah, it was a joke, obviously." It's like, girl, you really have become Cat Noir. And I think it's actually really fitting that we have the miraculous swap in this episode. Literally right after she realizes that she's in love with him, they swap miraculous, and it really does feel symbolic of the fact that, they've literally swapped roles now. Now she's the one who's in love with him when he's wearing the mask, and flirting with him, suggesting they hang out and stuff, and him just not really getting it, needing it to be fully spelled out for him that she's in love with him now, and now he's the one pursuing her without the mask, which is going to be interesting. Actually, I have to wonder if Cat Noir might try to visit Marinette this season, because we've gotten a couple of scenes between the two, so that'll be interesting to see some oh my goodness, I forgot the ship name already. How could I do this? Some Marishat. Be interesting to see some Marishat this season. Or maybe we could actually get some Ladrian and have the two be completely over each other. That would be interesting. We get all those Marishat scenes before they start crushing on each other in those forms. And then now that they're finally, now that Adrian's finally over Ladybug and she's finally over Adrian, now's when we get the Lady Noir scenes. That would be interesting. So we cut back to Marinette and Alia having another sleepover. My gosh, these girls have a lot of sleepovers lately. And she's just sort of telling her about what happened and everything. Alia's like, "Okay, but forget about that. What about you and Cat Noir? I mean, Mr. Bug." And she's like, all head over heels and everything. Like, "Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I could talk to him. I wasn't stumbling over my words. I feel like I could tell him anything." And it's like, Tiki's just kind of looking at her like, "Did you really have to bring this up, Alia? Did you really have to do this? Come on." Like, Tiki's even turning into Plag this episode. But then we get one last scene of Adrian going to check on Natalie, because, he's worried about her. She just had that whole experience of getting akumatized and everything, and he doesn't realize that she actually wanted to do it. But he goes and talks to her, checks on her. She assures him that he's fine. And they had this cute little scene where he hugs her and is like, "You mean so much to me, and even if I can't do anything for you, I hope you know that I'll always be here for you." And it's like, this is Adrian at his best, when he's being supportive of others. I love him so much. I love him so much! And she's like, "Yes, I'll always be here for you, Adrian." But I do want to go back real quick to the whole thing with them fighting Safari, because I did forget to mention that she was talking about how she wants a wish too. And then Monarch is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Do you want me to tell them?" He's like, "Fine." It's like, do you want me to tell them the truth? No? Okay. I'll let you go on with this as a cover story. But Mr. Bug, after having learned his lesson down in the sewer, basically goes on about how, you know, there would be a sacrifice. Every wish comes with a price, and that, you know, for every loved one that you have, that means that you can lose someone, which we do see her with an expression on her face like she just realized something, and I'm wondering if maybe she's realized that if they make this wish, there is a possibility that they could lose Adrian. And I mentioned this earlier in the video, please, 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 I don't want to be right about that. I don't want anything to happen to him. He is my son. I love him. Please don't hurt him. Even though I've got plans for her sister and my AU, but that's a completely other story. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But yeah, they have this cute little heart-to-heart, and then she tries to distract him by like, by the way, you mentioned that you're in love with someone. Why don't you tell me about this girl? And we get to the end card, and we actually see that some time has passed during their conversation, because Adrian is actually in his pajamas talking with Natalie, and they've got Coco and everything, and it's super cute. And we also see Lady Noir crushing on Mr. Bug in this, and it's like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's a total reverse of the love square. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Because we know Adrian's not going to break into Marinette's room, for one thing. But yeah, oh my goodness. This was such a good episode! Oh my goodness, and I'm already predicting now that this is going to be TVC's favorite episode, because Adrian does have a smidge more screen time than Marinette. For every amount of screen time that Marinette gets, we also get the same amount of screen time for Adrian, but we get extra as well, because this episode is focused on, the B plot of this episode is focused on Natalie and Gabriel, which involves Adrian. It's at his house. So, and if you consider the parts where Ladybug is paralyzed to not be Ladybug, then that we get this whole thing of him just being the focus of the episode. He is the focus of the fight. And everything was his plan. And this is what we should have gotten in the original Miraculous Swap episode, was him using the Ladybug Miraculous properly, getting a lucky charm and figuring out how to use it, coming up with a plan that works, not having to have her tell him what to do. And I loved it. I loved it, and I can already predict this is going to be TVC's favorite episode, because she loves Adrian as much as I do, and I know she's been getting frustrated by him not having enough screen time and being portrayed as incompetent, especially as Cat Noir, and oh my goodness, they did him so right this episode! Oh, I was so happy about this. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this here, because I've got to get to my live stream. It's already 1:30. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games, we do art, and also sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy this stuff, then be sure to ring that bell icon and never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.